Okay, so we are still on the module 3, understanding related literature and building now your conceptual framework and having this theme, research writing and Spotify, shuffling through the criteria of effective research writing. Now, earlier we were able to discuss how frameworks can be adapted or what kind of framework could be adopted in writing your introduction. And I hope you have watched also that's the second clip on the example of HGT in writing your introduction. But this time, my question now, how should we perceive review of related literature, focusing on the RRL this time? And maybe most of you will look at it as a very dreadful process of writing because you need to read a lot of references, you need to paraphrase, you need to synthesize everything, present a new idea, and then that's how things work in your RRL writing. But there are two things that I want you to consider in viewing RRL. Now, RRL can either be viewed as a process and as a product. So you don't look at RRL as an output or piece of paper or something that you can read, but it's also a process of doing, meaning in order for you to create a product, you need to find for references, you need to read those references, you need to paraphrase those references, and to create now substantial arguments to back up your study. So let's highlight first the first idea, lit review as a process. So what do you mean by considering RRL as a process? So you go through different papers, like what I've said earlier. And you also need to get ideas and inspiration. You also see what methods others use. So you see the similarities of all papers that you have gathered. And you also try to understand debates. These are the gaps or the gray area of your main research topic. And try to evaluate the merits of the paper. What makes this paper essential to be highlighted? What are the needed expansions of the arguments presented in previous publications, and how your paper can add on to the growing knowledge of that field of endeavor. And these are the processes that we undergo. So this simply means that when you started finding for references, simply that's already RRL process, and you're applying already. You're devoting much time now in order for you to find significant reference materials to be used in your RRL writing. And once you have completed the whole cycle of this process, you're now ready to have the final product, and that is to write your paper. So the product would be a written synthesis, can either be a critical analysis also. So written synthesis, there's a need for you to organize your ideas based on what you have read. Critical analysis, again, evaluation, analysis, even judgment, and synthesis of all this information in order to become significant and relevant to your paper. And of course, do not forget to introduce your contribution. So your own voice must also be highlighted in your RRL product. So you need to show what your research adds. And usually this is included in the last paragraph or last sentence. And but that's also one way to encapsulate now all the ideas that you have presented in your paper. So what are the styles in writing the review of related literature? Just like in introduction, you have your hook, gap, and thesis. There are also other frameworks that you can apply in writing the RRL. Now, I'll be emphasizing them so that you will understand all these things. And these are the three types or frameworks that I'll highlight. Now, I will not just discuss them, but I'll focus more on the example, the sample paper that I have uploaded. And we will try to go over the sample paper for you to understand oppositional review, broad to specific review, and thematic review.